guys, I'm Ahana and welcome back to my channel. This is my third monthly update and I'm super excited to tell you all about what we've been up to for the past month. The format of this video will be very similar to my first and second monthly update, in which I tell you what we did last month and what the plans are for the month ahead. So the biggest news from the past month is that we finally launched the app. We launched the app on the 7th of June and we actually went through a very hectic rebranding on the day of submitting the app to the App Store. So after 6 months of going by Hout, we rebranded to Clear in just 24 hours. I talk about this more in the last video I posted, so go check that out if you haven't already. So Clear is here and we've been doing some redesigning of the logo and of the icon. And to do this, we've actually been using a fellow YC company called Orsomic. So far it's been a great experience and we can't wait to share with you all the new designs. We did actually launch the app on the date that we said we were going to, and in order to do this we had to keep the app as minimal as possible. So that did mean stripping out quite a few of the features that we wanted to have in the first version. But having spoken to so many users over that period, to be honest, I couldn't wait to get the app out and just have it in front of real people, even if it did mean making iterations and improving things after publicly launching. A lesson we learned from the first time we tried to launch is that if you over-optimize for perfection, you probably never will launch. So we consciously pushed ourselves out of our comfort zone and made sure we got a product out on time. After launching at the start of the month, the next big challenge was getting users. As per YC advice, I really started with the things that don't scale. What I mean by that is me reaching out to people one-on-one, trying to promote the app and getting them to download it. The way I did this was by creating a long list of what we called watering holes, which is where all the people that we're looking for hang out. This includes skincare Facebook groups, skincare Reddit threads, comment sections in YouTube videos and on Instagram pages. There's also a load of independent skincare forums on the internet as well. To give you an idea of the scale, there are about 300 of these watering holes, all the different groups and all the different forums that I could go to. Then I drafted messages and I've got a big file of all these text templates and I just started posting them on these groups. This is quite time consuming, but sometimes you get lucky, and what this does is it gives you a strong start because you know that these people are already interested in skincare and part of existing skincare communities. And for our app, we want the early adopters to really engage with it and give us feedback so that we can improve. By targeting people that we know are into skincare, we can get a higher level of engagement early on and really connect one-on-one with our first users. Of these watering holes, about half of them were actually Facebook groups. If you've tried a strategy like this before, you might have noticed that one of the issues is that in most Facebook groups, you're not really allowed to post anything that's self-promotional, or you're not allowed to add links to your post, as more often than not, the admins or moderators will mark it as a spam post. So this was a challenge that I had to figure out a way to get around. There were a couple of ways I went about this, so let's go through them. The first is trying not to include a link, and rather than saying, hey, go download this app, it's awesome, try and tell a more personal story. So in my case, I talked about my own struggle with acne, I talked about having been in this community, in this group for a really long time, and I really framed my approach around solving a problem that I'd engaged with very deeply. So my post made it through only about 30% of the time, so these are roughly the stats that we're looking at. But when it wasn't marked as spam, we got some good results and some good engagement. The next strategy I tried with the Facebook groups was responding to comments on other people's posts. So if somebody had shared their skincare routine and was looking for a recommendation, I would give my authentic recommendation and also say that there's this app in which you can see loads more recommendations and actually see things from people with skin like you. So I'd kind of throw in a little bit about the app, make it relevant to the comment, and add a link to the website so that they could download the app. And again, this worked in quite a few places, and then people said that they would actually check out the app, and then I could see that they actually downloaded it. So I know that that worked to some extent. But again, on some of the comments, people weren't too happy that I was putting links here and there, so some of them got deleted, I got kicked out of a few groups, but it was worth it because at this stage, every user counts, and it did result in quite a few new users as well. The third and final thing with the Facebook groups that I tried was messaging the admins and moderators directly. And with this approach, I was open saying that I wanted promotion, But again, I really focused on the story, the backstory, and the fact that I've had to teach myself how to code to do this. I also emphasized the tangible benefits our app could give their communities in terms of the tracking and the recommendations and engaging with a wider skincare community as well. And this approach had some fairly polarizing outcomes. On the one hand, it probably resulted in the most abuse from certain admins who felt like they were being spammed by me in their inbox and they weren't very nice about it. But on the other hand, some admins did actually read the message and were so lovely that they agreed to kind of breach their own group rules and for this post allow links and DMs and self-promotion. Some of the admins even let me tag them in the posts, and one group in particular, they have around 20,000 members and they are a purely skincare focused group as well. So that was kind of like hitting a jackpot that I essentially got free promotion in that. Another way we tried to get users was through incentive schemes. And we had 4 planned over the next 2 months. Now, this is an example of something that didn't work so well for us. The first incentive scheme that we tried was, in exchange for product reviews, we would give our first 500 users exclusive access to a skincare guide. We struck a deal with an amazing skincare nutritionist and created a guide together. For users on the Clear app that left 10 product reviews, we would give them this guide completely for free. We promoted it on Instagram the day of doing this incentive scheme, but the engagement was ridiculously low. And it was kind of disappointing because the guide in itself was fabulous and the nutritionist was absolutely amazing as well. So it was kind of embarrassing on our part that the engagement was so low with this. And I think one of the problems was that our Instagram engagement has generally been quite low as well. And that's another thing that I'm going to be trying really hard to improve over the coming months. After this guide didn't get much attention, I decided to take it down and try it again when we've got more users, more engagement and more traction, as I still think there is so much value from that guide that people could learn. I know I learned so much from reading it, and I need to do something differently next time. And the main thing that I think I should do differently is to try and build up the hype a bit earlier. This time, I only promoted the guide on the day that we were doing this incentive scheme. But what I'm going to do in the future is, I think, have more of a countdown or try and build up some excitement. I'm going to introduce this nutritionist on our Instagram, share more of her content, and slowly build up excitement rather than try and do everything at once and have the same result again. Along the same vein, we've continued with our Instagram, so we've been doing 3 posts a week, and we've tried to increase the frequency of our stories, and in particular have myself and Ben feature on the stories, just sort of chatting to the camera. We've seen some growth in our Instagram, so we hit 600 followers in this month, which is good, but given the time that we've had the Instagram, I think we could do better as well. So what I'm going to be trying is to just increase my engagement through the Instagram. That means commenting more on other people's posts, following more accounts, liking more pictures, and hopefully that will spark some more organic growth, because we are delivering on the content front. It seems to be, again, the engagement that is just too low. Another platform in which I've been posting consistently is YouTube. I'm going to keep going with the YouTube because I think it's been a great experience for me to stay accountable, but also to share this experience with others and actually meet new people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. Something else I looked into briefly this month was SEO. Given that we changed our name from Hout to Clear, although we love Clear for a multitude of reasons, and you can check out my last video to hear more on that, a downside of the name Clear is that it appears in a lot of other brand names as well, meaning that when you search the name Clear, it doesn't rank very highly on Google or in the App Store. As such, when we launched on the App Store, we tried to manipulate the tags, the description, add catchy photos, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the App Store optimization front. So if anyone has any tips or is an expert in the area, I'd love for you to get in touch, as I'm looking for ways of improving our App Store optimization. Along the same vein, our SEO is another area that could be improved. We've changed our website to make it more clear what Clear actually does, and based on the research I did, I found that blog posts can be quite helpful. So what I'll be doing from every week onwards is releasing a new blog post about skincare. And hopefully that way, when people are searching for skincare related content online, Clear starts to rank. Again, if you've got any expertise or knowledge in this area, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So please feel free to comment below your SEO tips or reach out to me directly, as I would love to hear about more strategies that we can use. Another avenue that we explored this month was press. Imperial College covered our story, and I'm super grateful to the press team and Joanna in particular for writing that, as it really gives us a sense of credibility, and it's amazing to have an institution like Imperial supporting the work that we've been doing. Another piece of press that came our way that I wasn't expecting was that one of my past videos got picked up by eFinancial Careers. I actually got a message from my friend who works in banking who texted me saying, "Ahana, you're famous," and I was so confused. I had no idea what he was referring to. And he sent me the article. It turns out that my video about turning down my grad job was quite interesting to those in finance, and hence there was an eFinancial Careers article about it. At first I was a little worried in case they'd misconstrued what I said to make it more controversial and a more interesting read. But actually I think it was fairly representative of what I said in my video. And Sarah, the author, very kindly linked my YouTube and the Clear website. Another thing I learned when researching SEO is that backlinks help, so I was really grateful for that. I also had a call with Business Insider this week, and that was another amazing opportunity to share our story. So that's been everything on the press side. Another avenue that I've been pursuing is influencer marketing. And I'm super excited because just yesterday I signed off on my first deal with an influencer. So all the documents are signed and we're ready to go. I actually created this list of influencers I wanted to reach out to about a month ago, and in fact did reach out to them before we launched. Of the nearly 100 influencers that I reached out to, I got one response. And so I figured this time, again, I need to change my strategy and think of a different way to reach them. Given my banking experience, I'm an expert in creating pitch decks. So I made an influencer pitch deck in which I outlined what the relationship would be, what value we can provide them, and what we would be asking from them to help us promote Clear. But the pitch deck was only one aspect. The other aspect was what to say in the email itself. It sounds a bit silly, but because my response rate was so low on the last email sent, I figured I must have been doing something wrong. So I actually went on YouTube and I watched a bunch of the videos where YouTubers trick influencers into promoting fake products, because I know that they get responses to their emails, so clearly they must be doing something right. I kind of lifted one of the emails that I saw in one of those videos and attached my pitch deck to the email instead. And lo and behold, it worked, because this time when I sent the emails, I got so many more responses, and pretty immediately as well. In fact, one of them, while I was still sending out emails, was asking to call. In fact, if you're interested in the email that I sent to get these responses, comment your Clear username and email down below and I can send you the email that I sent. In the end, I spoke to a couple of the influencers or their managers, and I wasn't quite prepared for how expensive it was, but that was a great learning experience. Some of the prices were a little out of budget. One of the influencers I got hold of, she has 19 million followers on TikTok and was charging $20,000 for a single TikTok, which unfortunately we weren't quite prepared to go ahead with. However, we did also speak to some other influencers who are more within our price range, and we're super excited to be working with them, especially because their content is 100% skincare, which aligns perfectly with our audience too. So those are most of the things that I've been doing on the marketing side. I've also been doing some more work on the business model side. In my last monthly update video, I mentioned a potential fintech solution that we might be offering, but I didn't give away too many details. Now, having spent another month doing a bit more research, talking to more people, and really getting a better understanding of what we can provide and what the action plan is, I'm finally ready to tell you what the plans are for it. Again, it is kind of scary for me to do this because we might not hit our deadlines and might not launch this product on time. But again, these videos are for the sake of accountability, so here's the plan. We are going to be launching a debit card. The reason for this is that so we can provide our users with rewards and discounts when buying skincare. Clear is already the best way to discover new skincare and to track your existing skincare. And although by finding the right skincare in the first place, you are saving money, we want to help our users save even more money, and we can do that with a debit card. Essentially, it'll just be a screen in our app, so it'll be really easy for our users to manage. And in the same way that people have Monzo accounts or have their regular debit accounts, you can load money onto your Clear card, and every transaction you do in which you're buying skincare, you'll get instant cash back. If you're interested in more about how this works, I can film a separate video on it, but for now that's kind of the high level overview of how it would work. And the exciting thing about adding this offering to our users is that it opens up so many more possibilities for other fintech solutions that we could provide. For example, in skincare, there's a lot of small businesses or family-run businesses, and most of them will probably have a website in which they can sell their products to customers, but they will need some kind of payments processing on their website. In order to do that, somebody's got to process those payments, and as such, there's companies that they can use to help facilitate those transactions. The problem is that those transaction fees can be quite high. Let's use an example of 3%. If you're a small company, and if 3% of every sale you make is going away to a much bigger company, then that can really impact your business. However, what we can do is offer these small businesses a Clear business bank account, and then when a Clear user uses their Clear card to pay for skincare from this brand that has a Clear business account, because the transaction happens within the same bank, there are no processing fees, meaning that we can help these small businesses actually retain more of their profits and help them with their growth too. I've been laying all the groundwork to get this off its feet for the last month, and that includes speaking to other companies who are doing similar things in different areas, as well as the banking as a service providers who will help us issue these cards in the first place. The plan is to launch that product mid-August, so if you want to get some discounts on your skincare, stay tuned until then. In these videos, I want to be as open as I can about how we're doing as a business. And for the sake of transparency, I'm going to share our user numbers. In the first month, we've had around 500 downloads of the app. I think that getting users and seeing those early signs of product market fit can be the hardest part of starting any business, especially for first-time founders who are really starting from scratch. But we're really happy with our achievements. The next challenge is really just visibility and downloads. So that brings me on to the plans for next month. My main focus for the next month is app downloads. Of course, as a social app, retention is a very important metric to be measuring as well, but we already have a very strong beta community who we know love the app, so by the end of July, we're aiming for 5,000 downloads. It is a bit daunting as there's no real answer to how do I get users, but I do best when I've got an action plan, and boy do I have an action plan for the next month. I've got a load of different strategies and I'm going to keep trying them until something sticks. The first one is continuing with the things that don't scale. I mentioned these earlier and I'm already towards the end of exhausting all of the Facebook leads. But there are so many more, including on other social platforms and on skincare specific forums as well. And exhausting each one of them does take time, as you have to be super responsive and active when members engage with you. A similar idea is also trawling through Yahoo Answers and Quora and looking for people who are asking questions about skincare. And like I did in the comment section on Facebook, if somebody's asking a question, I will answer legitimately, but find a way to plug Clear in the process. At the very beginning, this strategy is fine, but of course, long term, I can't be chasing people individually. So we are going to be adding some features to the app that in theory should increase visibility on other social media platforms. An example here is that we know that people already share their skincare routines on the internet. Whether that's through writing down the names of all their products, or taking pictures of their products, or adding links to the products they're using. Regular people and influencers do this on a variety of forums. But there's no nice way of sharing your skincare routine. Well, there wasn't before Clear. We already collect people's routine data, and it's super easy to see the product someone is using from their profile. So we want to find a way of exporting this data from the app such that people can link it when they're sharing their routines on other platforms, rather than using one of these existing high-effort solutions. The current way we're thinking about doing that is creating a very simple web app in which just somebody's routine is shown and they can use that link. And if somebody wants to add their own routine or engage more with the app, they have to download it and they can create their routine from within the app directly. Another idea that's kind of similar is that we know people like to share progress pictures on social media platforms particularly on TikTok or on Instagram, where they'll either take a picture every day and then put it into a video, or they'll do a before and an after. Again, on Clear, people are logging this data as part of their skincare routines, meaning that we could add a button in the app that allows people to instantly generate these progress videos or these progress comparison pictures, which would save the person from having to create that video or that collage themselves, and they can do it directly from the app where their information's already in one place. A third strategy, and this actually isn't linked to social media, but in fact, from talking to GPs and dermatologists, it turns out that sometimes they ask people to take progress pictures, and currently, again, there's no nice way of doing that. Although we could use the same video creation tool that would be optimized for TikTok or an Instagram reel, from speaking to these dermatologists, their ideal way of viewing this information is looking at the progress pictures, so the face from all angles, which we already do in the app, and having the dates under each picture. That's another thing that we can quite easily make happen in the app and have people be able to export that as a PDF to their dermatologist. If we can get a network of doctors or GPs or dermatologists using this for their patients, then that's another great way to add visibility to our app. Another marketing channel that we're going to continue to pursue is the influencer marketing. I mentioned earlier that we struck our first influencer deal, but I sent out all those emails and I'm still waiting on some to get back to me and to finalize the details with some other influencers as well. I'm hoping we're able to strike a couple more deals at a reasonable price point in the next month. Something else I'll be trying is to offer to write content for skincare bloggers. As with a lot of content creators, it's hard to pump out content consistently. And if somebody wants or needs support with that, I will be offering my services for free as a skincare content writer in exchange for being able to promote Clear on their blogs. I haven't tried this before, but I guess we'll wait and see if it works. Something that we built a couple of months ago that we didn't really push hard enough on was our 60-second skin type challenge. And this falls into the umbrella of engineering as marketing. The 60-second skin type challenge was basically a 60-second challenge in which you could find out what your skin type is. And I've linked it down below if you're interested in finding out what your skin type is. Even though we created this page, we didn't really push hard enough and promote it in enough places such that it got as many hits as we'd have liked it to. So given that we've already built that, we're going to try and push that out a bit more. Again, post it in the various watering holes, try and use it on some new platforms as well, and see if that can get us anywhere. In addition to that, there's other engineering as marketing things that we can try. For example, a skincare budgeting tool or a skincare ingredients comparison website. These are all fairly simple things to create from a tech standpoint, but can provide an end user with some instant gratification that could help spread the name of Clear around. Another thing that I'm super excited about for this summer is that we've got some amazing friends helping us with various parts of the startup. There's a network called Imperial Young Professionals, which I'm a part of, and as part of that scheme, I mentor younger Imperial students. My current mentee is incredible. The first time I met him, I was so impressed. He's a first-year computer scientist, and he's been coding for a really long time and worked on so many projects of his own, and he's only just finished his first year. I really didn't expect that he would want to get involved in this, but very recently, he told me that he thought what we were doing looked super exciting and was wondering if we had any projects that we could give him. As I'm about to get to, there is so much to do on the tech side, and so he's going to be helping with some of that development over the summer. Another person that I'm really excited to welcome to the team this summer is a student who's part of Imperial's Dermatology Society. Now earlier I mentioned a bit about one of the Intrinsic virality features being exporting progress pictures and sending that to your GP or dermatologist. Now being a medical student, this person has an extensive network within that community and is going to help us with bringing more dermatologists and doctors to the platform so that they can contribute from a content perspective. For example, on the tags, whilst you can see other users with those skin concerns, you don't actually get much information about what that skin concern is, like acne, for example. But what we want to do on Clear is provide people with an objective education, and there's a couple of ways we can do that. One thing that we'll be doing is providing information from a trusted source, so perhaps the British Dermatology Association, clearly stating that that's the source of our information. But given that we are a community-based learning platform, We also want there to be a discussion amongst professionals about these topics because oftentimes people have different views around how best to treat these concerns or what some of the underlying causes are. So on these tags pages, we'll have somewhat of a forum of professionals discussing their thoughts on these issues so that you as the end user can then educate yourself further on what these concerns are, how applicable they are to you, and aside from seeing product recommendations more widely on the app, you can also gain some specific knowledge from the experts. On the tech side, we're working in 2-week sprints. There are around 40 Git issues left in the backlog from our launch, and we're working through those one by one. Based on the user feedback that we're getting, I label them and drag them into the order of priorities, and every 2 weeks we have a sprint planning meeting in which we discuss realistically how much we can achieve and how many of these issues we can get through for this sprint period. Ben and I also have a daily tech stand-up in which we discuss progress yesterday and the plans for today and if there's any blockers or issues that have come up. On the app itself, you can go onto settings and updates, and there you can see all the changes we're making to the tech and how the app is actually improving in real time. Please do check that out, and I'd love to hear your feedback on the app itself. We're still in our very early stages, iterating, improving, making changes, so I'd honestly love to get your thoughts on the platform and would love to hear if you have any suggestions as to how we can improve certain features. So that's all for this month's update. I'm actually really proud of what we've achieved in the last month, and I think we've made some great progress both on the tech side and on the business development side of things. I mean, we launched the app, so that's a huge achievement for us. It's actually really nice to reflect on this update and look at the last one and the one before that and see how far we've come, even just from a couple of months ago. I'm super excited for the month ahead of us, and I'm gonna try everything I can to hit that 5,000 downloads goal. So fingers crossed for me. If you have been enjoying the app, please do remember to give it a rating on the App Store, as that helps us tremendously. And also, if you've got any friends into skincare, I'd love for you to share Clear with them as well. We're still struggling a bit with the App Store optimization, so if you are looking up the name in the App Store, be sure to search Clear Social Skincare. Currently, if you type Clear in, it won't show up, unfortunately, which is another reminder, if you've got App Store optimization expertise, I would love to hear from you. Alright, that's all for this one. If you want to keep up to date with all the latest from Clear, please subscribe to my channel, as I put these updates out monthly and create videos weekly sharing my experiences from this crazy startup journey. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.